HBO Harry Potter series is well underway with filming, and a few weeks ago they dropped a reasonably good trailer with a few errors in it, which I have already talked about a couple of weeks back. The general consensus was that people were excited for the TV series, but there have been more than just a few who seem to think otherwise. Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters.
I crown you Queen of the Woke!
Let's chat about it. Now, the article that I have today is from Indie 100. This article, technically, when this video goes out, will have been out for a little while. However, I wanted to save this one for when I was on holiday, and it's March right now at the time of the recording of this video. So the article says, and this is not the entire thing, I have linked it below should you wish to read it for yourself. First look at HBO Harry Potter remake devised the internet. Repackaged Slop. The new Harry Potter HBO trailer has finally dropped and fans elsewhere are losing their minds. The 2-minute glimpse shows the familiar Hogwarts halls filled with new faces taking on iconic roles, which has sparked everything from excitement to cautious optimism. Some viewers couldn't help but be swept up in the magic and feeling 11 all over again. The project is expected to take a full decade, with each of J.K. Rowling's 7 books being adapted into its own series. Many fans couldn't help but notice that the trailer leans heavily on familiar sights, from Harry's iconic scar to Hogwarts acceptance letter, and Harry with his loyal companion Hedwig making their way through the station to board the Hogwarts Express. Now, that in itself I don't mind, because those are elements that have come from the book. It all sounds very nice. It all sounds very floaty. The trailer does take those things and put it into it, but we know that the story is going to have additional things added to it that are also not from Harry's perspective, which is a deviation from the book, which is I'm not so impressed with. However, there are fans that are also not too pleased from the trailer. A lot of people think it's backlash from a certain character who we found out had been cut from the trailer discreetly when I did my trailer reaction video. So this is a couple of quotes, not many, just a couple of some fan reactions. Crying that the new Harry Potter show hasn't even thought of a new way to attack the material. Same aesthetic, same character design, just repackaged slop, one harsh critic wrote. Another chimed in, this Harry Potter trailer, ha 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 ha, holy S, they're wearing the same costumes for F's sake. It looks like a video game where they couldn't get the right actors to the actors, where they couldn't get the rights to the actor's likeness. Sorry, that made me laugh. I don't know why. Repackaged slop. That's one way of putting it, I suppose. Like, in the terms of accuracy of how the character looks, I would say they were all close in representation, maybe some respects closer, right? In many respects, but we've already got the originals, so people will never really want anyone new, so to speak. But I think Lithgow looks amazing, and I think they're going for a more Richard Harris version to book Dumbledore version. Richard Harris to book Dumbledore. A crossover between the two there, rather than the Michael Gambon version, which is still a very good version of Dumbledore. And if you compare Harris versus Gambon, then Harris always matched visually the book description a lot better, in my opinion. But portrayals were somewhat similar. Oh, yeah, weird that. They didn't necessarily make it their own, they kept it similar. Well, Michael Gambon kept it similar to Richard Harris. However, there were some things that they could have done. They could have changed the characters' Hogwarts robes. They are more like the film version of the robes as opposed to the books, because in the books it's a black cloak and a black hat. And little things like that, little nuances that could have made it look a little bit different. They've got a lecture hall, a massive lecture hall, like you would perhaps at like a university or something like that, which I thought was quite nice, a nice little touch. Now, I will link this full article for you, as these are just a couple of comments, right? Okay, it's just a little tiny article, little thing. However, I do understand the perspective that they are coming from. It's still very close to the movies for this remake visually, which is probably going to create some issues. However, now that I think about it, with the terms of the sets, J.K. Rowling was quite meticulous with the design of the sets. She had quite a fair bit, from my understanding, on the movies. What she had quite a fair bit of input on what the sets needed to look like. Right? Okay. So I will say that that's probably why the sets haven't deviated too much, because of her particularness over the sets. The colouring of it is not vibrant. It's very dark in comparison. Now, I do think that this will be popular, right? People are going to watch this. A lot of fans do not know the online discourse that is going on, right? So I think people will watch it. The only thing that I think that they need to do, minus what I've discussed in past videos, truly, is fix the color grading. No, I know I can talk. My color doesn't look all that great, but you know, the sets look great. It's good to see things like the chopping of Harry's hair and how vile the Dursleys can be. The Dursleys were always underwritten in the films, in my opinion, and that's because the books are so long that they have to be cut down. And some sacrifices have to be made, and unfortunately, in many respects, the Dursleys took quite a big hit. Their roles are very prominent in the first three films, not so much for the other five, sorry, because they made the other one into two, didn't they? Now, had they gone down the route that they should have gone down, that they were telling us that they were going to go down, then this probably would be a stellar remake. It's not a remake that we needed, but it still would have been a great one. It would have been fun had they not made the changes that they made. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Chat about it. Don't shout about it. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you soon. I will be back from holiday very soon. Bye bye. Thank you for watching today. Don't forget you can join me on my other platforms as well. I've got YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, TikTok, Instagram, Locals, Substack, and I also have a Discord. Everything is linked below.